Panel one, I want to welcome our colleagues, the Honourable Serge Joyal, who is chair of the committee. The deputy chairs are Pierre Boivin and the Honourable Senator Rene Dupuis, who are in front of us. And 10 minutes, all three of you together. 10 minutes, please, to make your presentation.
Immediately, since we have very little time for each of us, I would want to remind honorable senators that the reason why we are here this afternoon, it's because originally I was one of the chair of committee that expressed deep concern about the aspect of the bill that pertained to the Legal and Constitutional Affairs Committee. In other words, the aspect of the bill that have an impact on the Constitution, that is the responsibility of the province and the federal government in relation to the implementation of the objective of the bill. And second, of course, the section of the bill that pertains to the criminal code. And specifically, we address Section 2, Section 8 and 9, and Section 14 of the bill. So that was the slice of the pie that was attributed to us. Some other subjects will be dealt with by other colleagues that you have the opportunity to listen and, I should say, hear this afternoon. So on the whole, we have heard 39 witnesses, 39 experts coming from first the level of provinces who were interested. Especially we heard the Minister of Canadian Relations from the Quebec government on the section of the cultivation of cannabis plants at home or in the dwelling, as the bill used the term. We heard also some representative from the municipalities, because as you know, municipalities will have to deal with the regulations in the public places and the parks and everywhere. And of course, police forces, because they are responsible to implement the section of the bill that pertains to the criminal code, because as you know, the cannabis is still a dangerous product and it's still submitted to a lot of regulation and section of the code. The organized crime is still in the business. We heard that it will continue to remain in the business, even though one of the clear objectives of the bill is to, of course, address this issue. We heard from the RCMP that 50% of the market is in the hands of the organized crime. We heard also, of course, that there are all kinds of ways for the organized crime to organize itself in the new context of legalization. So that's why there are observations of the report that we circulate today that pertains to that. We also, of course, sat for 7 meetings like the one that you have today. So for 7 days we hold meetings. And of course we received briefs also from various groups and persons interested. On the whole, we have 8 unanimous recommendations, and I insist on unanimous. There was a real consensus. In other words, we had ample time to debate among ourselves the conclusion that we all share. So it is an important factor that I want to stress today. We had one recommendation that has the support of a majority of senators and 7 recommendations that were supported by a minority. On the aspect of observation, we have 3 unanimous observations. Again, unanimous. I think it is important, again, to stress that. 1 with majority support and 7 with minority support. I will leave my colleague, Senator Dupuis, Senator Boisvenu, to maybe address some of the aspects of those recommendations. But of course, we are open to answer your question after. So I hope I still maintain the time frame in which we are invited to share with you our thought this afternoon.
3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Thank you. I'm happy that I met the target.
Senatrice Dupuis.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Merci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to members of committee for having us here today. So you can read, of course, the whole report at your leisure. I'd just like to come back to a number of points that have come out of the information that we have heard in the audiences that have been heard thus far. Now, this extended period of prohibition has not prevented the use, production, sale or distribution of cannabis. Secondly, cases have been brought before the courts by Canadians since the 2000s, and the courts found in favour of these Canadians, and that is that prohibition prevented them from relieving their physical and mental pain and suffering, and therefore deprived their rights under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. This forced the federal government to consider the possibility of legalising cannabis and growing it oneself by a designated person for medical reasons if a physician provides a medical document supporting that request. It's important to note that this is a medical document and not a prescription per se, because cannabis is not considered a medication. According to the government, the current situation is untenable for the following reasons. First, cannabis has been produced for decades with no quality control. Second, annual illegal revenue is estimated at approximately $6 billion and is concentrated in the hands of organised crime. Third, the legal cannabis market for medical purposes is porous and infiltrated by organised crime regularly. Fourth, the lack of scientific data on cannabis, especially in regards to the correlation between the use of cannabis and certain diseases and illnesses, and also the correlation between the use of cannabis and the relief of a number of illnesses or diseases. Now, based on the testimony we have heard, we clearly need a public information campaign targeting youth, parents and educators regarding the hazards of cannabis use, notably among Canadian youth, but not exclusively. Secondly, we need to fund research here in Canada, which is inadequate currently. Third, we need to ensure that there is follow-up, develop stringent follow-up of the use of cannabis, but also the production, distribution and sale, and the effects of Bill C-45 on the reduction or otherwise of the production and illegal sale by organised crime. 4, recognise the provinces and territories' authority to legislate, to authorise or prohibit the possession, cultivation and harvesting of cannabis in designated places. And finally, 5th, ensure that the law is enforced in respect of teenagers, but ensure that they are kept out of the criminal justice system when there are alternative methods, and ensure that our youth are not subject to more severe penalties than adults are.
Senator Boisvenu.
Thank you, and I apologise for my voice, which I'm losing. I had a recent operation, and I'm currently losing my voice, so I'll try and speak quickly before I lose my voice altogether. Now, I'd like to draw your attention to the recommendations that I would qualify as minor, particularly those voiced by the official opposition, and that is the Conservatives. And I'd like to draw your attention on this because these are aspects of a social nature which are part of your mission and purview. Now, I'd like to pass on a recommendation that police forces have a consensus on, as that is prohibition on the cultivation of homegrown marijuana, first and foremost regarding safety, the safety of the children in the dwelling unit, and also the development of a grey market when it comes to sales. And this was the subject of a majority opinion in the committee. I'd also like to draw your attention to the age vis-a-vis sale and possession. We know that the government is in favour of an 18-year limit, and there was a resolution that wasn't adopted to have that be 21 years. And in fact, doctors, physicians, psychiatrists believe that the use of cannabis is okay after 25 years of age, but doctors believe, generally speaking, that at 18 years of age it is indeed hazardous to consume marijuana. Another recommendation of a minor nature was in relation to the THC. We know that in the legislation there is no stipulations regarding THC levels. We would like to suggest that there be one. Psychiatrists are recommending that from 18 to 25, depending on the level of THC, there is a higher risk of mental illness. So were marijuana to be sold to 18 to 25-year-olds, the THC level should be lower than that of marijuana sold to people over 25 years of age. Another minor recommendation, extension of the implementation period for the legislation. We know that Indigenous communities are in favour of a one-year delay. This recommendation is coming essentially from police forces, and whether it be in July or next September, when it comes to the equipment and training of police officers, police forces aren't ready to manage the use of cannabis primarily among drivers of vehicles. And we've seen what occurred in Colorado and Washington, where there was a 25% increase of the mortality rate due to the use of marijuana at the wheel. And we're in favour of a delaying of the implementation of this legislation so that police officers have time to catch up. So that was our recommendation in that vein. Another minor recommendation, and I'm coming to my closing remark. Regarding advertisements, a professor from the University of Shawbrook recommended, well, there are already a number of restrictions under the legislation regarding advertising cannabis. We believe that we need to go further. Advertising targets young people, and yet they are the ones who are most specifically vulnerable. And the professor made the suggestion there should be a complete prohibition of advertising cannabis, and those were the minor recommendations that it would be our submission that your committee should consider for the purpose of protecting Canadian youth, safety on our highways and roads, and also for the purpose of social cohesion. We know that using marijuana has social ramifications, and it's the Association of Canadian Properties and Real Estate that raise these concerns. We don't know how this is going to be managed, whether it be on one's balcony or indoors, and these are our minor recommendations that we'd like your committee to consider. Thank you so much.
Question.